pages, so forgive me if I have to pause to catch my breath. This is a summary of the events that led us here today. I'm going to skip over outlining the categories as Mr. Kunkel just went over them. Autumn Harris has been suspended due effective April 24th, 2019. Her studies include the essential curriculum set forth by Baltimore County Public Schools. This is Autumn's third year at Perry Harassed Middle School, matriculating from Baltimore IT Academy in Baltimore City. This is Autumn's second suspension for the 18-19 school year. She's suspended to be designated for the following. Mr. Kunkel already outlined that. Teacher statements, student statements, and video footage of Autumn Harris involved a fight on Wednesday, April 24th at approximately 10:15. This was a fight that was discussed multiple times, and threats were made on both sides to engage in a fight. The fight resulted in several teachers intervening to stop the altercation and being struck while doing so. In the video, Autumn came from her class and was in the hallway. You see her walk by the camera, then she backs into the camera view, now with books in her hand, and says something to Miss Brager, a teacher, as she points down the hallway. Autumn then steps back into the hallway. Miss Brager enters the hallway. Autumn stands behind Miss Brager, yelling down the hallway, fist clenched, ready to punch. She's backing away, but also yelling at student A, who Miss Brager has corralled into her classroom doorway. Then three other teachers, Miss Radich, Miss Nelson, Miss Lindsay, all surround Autumn to corral her into an open classroom. Autumn refuses to listen to their direction to go in the classroom. At that point, student A pushes through Miss Brager and runs towards Autumn and three teachers. Autumn tries to get around the teachers to get to student A and hits Miss Radich in the arm. Student A pushes Miss Nelson back to reach for Autumn to hit her. Miss Lindsay then is in between both girls and gets punched by student A, and Autumn attempts to punch student A. She also punches Miss Lindsay. Miss Nelson tries to intervene and gets hit by both girls again. Miss Brager was behind Autumn and got struck and pushed. Miss Crow then gets between the two students and gets them separated a bit, but not before she is pushed by Autumn, who was then pulled away. Miss Crow then stands in front of student A to keep her from going to the classroom. They removed Autumn, but she pushes Miss Crow and tries to get by. Student A then relents and heads towards the stairwell. Autumn is in the classroom. However, you see her come back into the hallway yelling, ready to fight. While in the classroom, Autumn is screaming obscenities, facing around the classroom and kicked to school. I asked her if she was physically okay, and she became very agitated with my inquiry. Autumn called her mother from the classroom, and Miss Harris said she was on her way to the school. Autumn eventually de-escalated, accompanied me and Officer Fuller to the main office. Autumn declined to raise a statement, however, verbal due process was given. What led to this altercation has been an ongoing conflict between Autumn and student A for the last several weeks. Reported from both sides, each student has engaged in text and social media messages which have included statements of intent to fight one another. Initially, the information was brought to the school's attention by Autumn's mother, Ms. Harris, who arrived to the school one day to speak with me. The following is a timeline of events that led up to the altercation. On April 11, Autumn's mother, Ms. Harris, came to the school in the afternoon to discuss some problems between herself and student A's mom. Ms. Harris stated she was concerned because student A's mom was telling student A to come to the school to fight Autumn. The secretary, Ms. Silverman, referred Ms. Harris to call the local precinct for community conferencing to work out the issues between the parents. Ms. Harris wanted to be sure that we were doing our part to make sure the girls didn't have a physical conflict in school the next day. This information was shared with the administrative staff. On April 12th, Ms. Harris came to the school at 8 o'clock without an appointment. She asked to see me, but I was not immediately available, but indicated I could meet at 8:30. When I met with her, Ms. Harris, she asked what the school was going to do to keep student A away from her daughter, and if something happened, it was going to be the school's responsibility. If Autumn thought she would not be held responsible, I informed Ms. Harris I could put things in place that would help the situation, i.e. Autumn could transition 4 minutes late to avoid hallway interaction. Autumn could eat with Ms. Wedmore, the Just Us Girls advisor that she works with. Autumn did not like that arrangement, so I explained in local parentis to Autumn and Ms. Harris, and while Autumn was in the care and custody of the school, she would need to follow the directive regardless of her preference. Autumn eventually conceded. Student A would also be put on escort for the day. When this information was shared with student A, she asked to stay in the office and work for the day. Student A worked independently. The subject of the bus was mentioned, and it was initially shared as a concern that student A and Autumn rode the same bus. Ms. Harris stated that she was concerned for her daughter even to the point that Autumn came to school dressed to fight. Ms. Harris was agitated and frustrated. At some point during the meeting, Ms. Duncan stepped out and Autumn's mother left the school because she needed to get to work. Before Ms. Harris left, community conferencing was again offered and Mom declined. On April 12th, student A showed me, I'm sorry to go back and forth, the first person and the third, but me a text message between her mother and Autumn's mother. The exchange discussed her daughters communicating with each other. The exchange seemed heated. On April 15th, Ms. Harris arrived at the school seeking me. I was not available to meet with Mom as I was going to meet with the teachers that I delayed in a meeting on that previous Friday to meet with her. Ms. Harris was agitated that I was unavailable. Officer Fuller met with Mom, and Officer Fuller advised Ms. Harris it would be best to make an appointment. Ms. Harris was directed to guidance where she met with Ms. Jody Barker, counselor. Ms. Harris shared that a conflict had been taking place outside of school. However, Ms. Harris reported that student A and some of her friends were trying to intimidate Autumn while in school. Ms. Harris shared that she met with student A's parents to end the conflict. On April 16th, Crystal Wedmore, Just Us Girls at Bayer, conducted a mediation between student A and Autumn. The following was a summary of her mediation. Yesterday during Just Us Girls, I sat down with Autumn Harris and student A to resolve an ongoing conflict they've been having for the past few weeks. The girls sat calmly and spoke about the issues. They both expressed that they had not had an opportunity to sit and speak to each other without an unbiased mediator. During the conversation, the girls were able to express their feelings about the situation and the things that were hurtful to each of them. At the end of the conversation, the girls came to the conclusion that they did not need to physically resolve the conflict and that most of the issue was because of hearsay. The two seemed to understand that the parties involving themselves in the conflict were the problem, and that if they had an opportunity to sit down with each other and speak without the use of digital media, they could have resolved this sooner. They are not on the page of being friends, but they've made the decision to keep peace between them and exist in the building peacefully. We also made a decision that if another issue arises in the future, they would come talk to me peacefully and mediate again. Ms. Harris also called the school but did not want to talk to me about the bus situation. Ms. Harris spoke with Mr. Atkins, assistant principal, who informed her student A and Autumn do not ride the same bus, and student A was given notice not to try to board the bus because Ms. Harris shared student A had previously rode the bus. On April 17th, student A's mother, arrived at school and asked to see me or Miss Ginelli. She was told that no one was immediately available, but if she wanted to wait, she could, and someone would meet with her when possible. She waited, and Mrs. Ginelli was able to meet with her regarding the concerns she had. Student A's mother shared a video that had been taken of somebody on the phone on a video call with another person. Student A's mother identified that caller was Ms. Harris, and student A's daughter, student A's sister, was the recipient. Someone had filmed her taking the call. Student A's mother stated that rude comments were made towards her daughter, and more concerning, that threats were made for her to come to the house with guns. While student A's mother was waiting, she contacted the area office and spoke with Cass Roan, who reached out to the school for more details. She was advised to fill out a bullying harassment form for the purposes of documentation purposes. In addition, Ms. Ginelli advised her to contact the police. Our officer was not in the building that day to report any community issues and ongoing threats. She indicated that she would do that following our meeting. Ms. Ginelli informed her that we would continue to monitor things on our end and that student A was on escort to go anywhere during class time that she needed to do to being in locations she did not need to be. Ms. Ginelli was also contacted the area office with an update regarding the ongoing concerns that were reported to us and the things that had been done so far. On April 18th, Autumn and a friend arrived in the office at lunch. When they asked why they were there, Autumn responded that she didn't trust herself, that she was going to engage with student A. She was also told she could eat in the office. Ms. Duncan and Ms. Perry spoke with her following lunch. She was picked up by her mother before dismissal. On April 23rd, student A entered the cafeteria at breakfast time, but did not go in the office to purchase breakfast. She was seen on video putting her backpack down very near the breakfast line. Students are not to enter the cafeteria unless they are purchasing breakfast. She was asked to get in line. She stood near the line but never entered. Autumn was in line at the time. When Autumn exited the line, student A saw that Autumn had taken her shoes and socks off. Autumn stated that she took her shoes and socks off because the day before, another student showed Autumn a snap exchange between student A and student C's sister that said, "Girl, I'm doing it for you. Yeah, go pop her. I will, Pooh." Then Autumn took her shoes and socks off. Student A believed that this was a sign that she was ready to fight. Student A left the cafeteria, went in the direction of Autumn's locker. She was seen on camera with a group of friends, and she approached Autumn, screaming profanities and ready to fight. Student B intervened to stop her from getting close to Autumn. Student A continued to try to push past to get Autumn. She was brought to the office by Mr. Atkins. Student A indicated that she, quote, did not care that she would get in trouble, that she was going to fight her at some point. Ms. Wedmore, advisor of the Just Us Girls group, that student A is a part of came down to meet her, and tried to discuss the ongoing issues again with her. Student A was advised she was being suspended for the disruption. She had already contacted her mother, who was up on her way. When her mother arrived, Ms. Ginelli met with her immediately. Ms. Wedmore stayed for the meeting, and eventually Ms. Duncan joined the meeting as well. The meeting lasted over an hour, and student A's mother shared the continuation of the issue at the community level, discussed her contact with the police, etc. Student A was suspended for the day and advised that every day she would report to the office in the morning. She would be escorted to breakfast and then to homeroom. A plan was put in place that every other day each girl would eat lunch in the cafeteria to avoid further contact. If those expectations were not followed, consequences would be issued. Student A's mother took her daughter home following the conference. Autumn was sent to class and texted her mother at lunch. Ms. Harris called the school for me, and I took the call and explained to Mom what had occurred. On April 24th, Ms. Crow reported that she was walking up from her duty station and noticed a group of students, so she went over to see what was going on. She noticed the students find her on the floor and several girls were directing another girl, student A, from going upstairs. She followed the group as they went towards the class, and student A stated that it's going to happen no matter what. At that time, Ms. Crow and Ms. Gutteran, another teacher, to help her identify the young lady, and said it was student A. While Ms. Ginelli was in a meeting with Ms. Crow, student A's mother had called the school and was told she would call her back. On April 25th, I emailed Ms. Harris to let Mom know that I was taking Autumn's device, her cell phone, her charger, and brush. I asked if it was okay for me to send it home with a friend. Mom responded to my email and said yes. This is a quote from your email, Ms. Harris. Can you guys just also document that student A and some others were on the bus stop yesterday mourned for my child to fight? I apologize, Ms. Duncan, but I feel her and her mom most definitely played on Baltimore County Public Schools when in fact they had the same talk and conversation you guys had with my child. It seems like no respect authority. I do appreciate it, and the only reason I needed that documented because it technically was school property. I appreciate it, and yes, most definitely send her things home, please, thanks. Ms. Ginelli returned student A's mother's call, and she informed me that student A was late to school because of another incident in the neighborhood the night before where her daughters were at the park and Autumn's mother was circling the park. So I'm sorry, it should be
I'm confused.
April 24th,
okay.
then it should be this paragraph, and this paragraph should go below. So that was the correspondence between you and I after the altercation. So my apologies for the way that this is outlined. So flipping back to right before the fight, Ms. Ginelli returned student A's mother's call, and she informed me that student A was late to school because of another incident in the neighborhood the night before where her daughters were at the park and Autumn's mother was circling the park in a car. She informed me that she messaged the officer and she spoke with the other day, and that she flagged down a police officer that was in the neighborhood to report what was going on. A report had also been made by Autumn's mother that student A, her sister, and several boys were circling their block. Ms. Ginelli informed student A's mother of the information shared by the teacher regarding the hall behavior. At the time, there was a call for an administrator in the 8th grade hallway for an altercation. Several staff members reported to the area. At this location, student A had left her second period class, and rather than going to the class on the first floor she was supposed to go to, she went upstairs to where Autumn was located.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this going backwards? Because I'm confused.
Yes.
Okay.
It's unfortunately confusing.
Okay, gotcha.
So
y'all kind of lost me. So we talking about which incident at this point when?
So this is another description of the altercation.
The fight order.
Yes,
okay.
This is the
okay.
same thing. So at this location, student A had left her second period class, and rather than going to class on the first floor she was supposed to go to, she went upstairs to the area where Autumn was located, the hall located. Student A indicated that she was going to her locker. However, her locker was at the opposite end of the hallway where she was located. The students were partially seen on video engaging in a verbal altercation at first, with many adults attempting to intervene to stop the problem. Several teachers tried to get Autumn into a classroom where student A runs towards her, and the two engage in a physical altercation. Even when separated, student A still attempts to get back at Autumn. student B attempted to assist in separating the two and was struck in the head attempting to do so. Several adults report being struck during the altercation as well. Student A and other student was brought to the office. Officer Fuller called for backup to the heightened nature of the situation. Both parents were immediately contacted and the students were asked to write statements. Each student was charged with second-degree assault, disruption in school activity, CC 19-1140879, and harassment, CC 19113213223. Many interventions were used to try to prevent this issue from escalating, but due to the social media and continued conversations out school, value to follow expectations that were outlined, the students did not disengage from the situation. As a result, many hours of time were expended on adults and other students were put in an unsafe situation due to their need to fight to solve their issues. School staff is ensure that either student is truly finished with this issue and can exist safely without threat to one another or the schoolhouse. For honest behavior, she has been suspended to the superintendent's designee.
Questions so far?
I mean, I'm just ready to speak if I can.
No, I'll give you that opportunity.
Okay,
after
no
yours,
problem.
So let me hear from you.
Oh, I do, sir. I'm sorry. I do have one question. When I did meet with you guys, the day of the altercation in the office, there was no mention of the teacher being assaulted. I just wanted to know why, or is that something you guys found out after? Because you guys told me she was being suspended and up for expulsion because there was physical contact. And you said she didn't follow the rules or something like that. That's something that you guys told her to go in the classroom.
So,
But category 3 most definitely was not told to me when we had that meeting. I'm just trying to figure out, like, did you guys go back and review the camera and something, you know?
many things happened that day.
Okay.
One of them was, everybody's emotions was high, including Autumn's. Even in the classroom, when I was trying to get, how is she fine, does she need help, she didn't want to hear any of it.
Right.
So there's a lot going on, and everybody's adrenaline is going on. So when we got her into the office, we knew that it was a fight. When I reviewed the video shows teachers getting struck, and then we pull, the teachers that reported, we get statements from the teachers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So notice of her suspension to the designee was given to you orally. The letter that was mailed home to you, or this letter, is it this letter?
Yeah, that's the one I received.
This is the one that comes in the mail, the official letter with the outline in charges.
Mm-hmm.
So, did I specifically say teachers were struck? I don't remember.
No, ma'am, you didn't.
Okay, but
No.
I'm not gonna say I did one way or another, but that's the process of, the investigation.
Right, that's what I was just trying to figure out, because you guys did admit to me that you did review the camera and you seen that Taylor didn't belong on, the floor that Autumn was on. So I kind of thought, like, because you guys did review the footage and for her to be suspended, you found evidence that Autumn should have been suspended, which I wasn't disputing, but also, I'm like, at that point, you would see that a teacher was struck or something like that. I just didn't know where the third charge came from. That was my concern, that was it.
I never spoke to you about the specific charges. I told you she was being suspended to the designee.
Officer
Right.
Fuller did tell me assault to the second degree, I believe, right?
So this doesn't affect the school case, but for
Okay.
police charges, I'm only doing one count of assault.
Okay.
It could have been multiple counts of assault.
Right, but so you guys, that's what I'm trying to understand, so it's not together,
Not
the
at
school,
all.
okay,
Totally
gotcha,
separate.
okay,
It's very rare that they're even here. We don't work for them, they don't work for us.
Right.
We can't tell them when to charge, we can't tell them when not to charge. It's the sole discretion of the police department. We're interagency partners. They just happen to be here because they were involved. But
Mhm.
other than that, totally separate entities.
yeah, but I was just looking at that category 3, because it wasn't told to me,
Okay. But you were given, the written notification.
Yes, afterwards, yes, sir, I was.
So, you want to tell me your side now?
Mm.
Statement, you guys. I don't do it.
Okay, so there's a couple things I seen here that didn't make sense. The reason she was late the day that morning of the fight was because she was waiting for me at my bus stop, and my mother stopped bringing me to the bus stop that day. My mother wasn't circling her house; she was circling my house, and she came to my girlfriend's house to come fight me that day, like before we were getting ready to fight. And then the day of that we did fight, she pretty much made it known that she was coming up the hallway, and I don't feel as though that it was like, if you didn't belong to her, you shouldn't have let her up there.
So there's many, many days where there was about to be a fight, it seems. There were many, many interventions that were done. So why on this particular day do you guys both decide to fight?
Well, it wasn't, for one, she hit me the day before, like the day that we were about the fight when she first
Which
approached
time?
me.
When you took off your shoes and socks?
Time
what
to
that day.
Before the day, you know?
23, I
It
think.
seems like there's multiple days.
I think that was
you
the
guys were
23rd.
heated.
I had went to, I don't know what the teacher's name is.
Why are you taking off your shoes and socks, by the way?
Because it was just like, she just kept saying like, this is gonna happen in this day, or this, that, and the other, and at that point, if you were gonna touch me, I didn't wanna be like, caught off guard.
But on that day, you take off your shoes and socks and you don't actually fight that day, right?
No, I was in the
It's
cafeteria.
a simple yes or no question.
No,
So why didn't you fight that day?
I went and told the teacher.
Oh, okay. So there was an incident where you guys were heated
We weren't.
and it was escalated to the point where you're taking your shoes and socks off
No, that was before.
and you decide not to fight that day.
Was you fussing with her that day?
No, I wasn't fussing.
Then why are you taking your shoes and
So
socks
just
off?
tell them what's
I
going on.
walked, when I was in the cafeteria, I walked them out the cafeteria with my shoes and socks. When I put I was starting to put them back on when I got to my locker. And when she came to me, I
No,
went
no,
to
no, I don't care about when you're putting them back on. I'm talking about how they got off in the first place.
Tell them you took them off. Y'all wasn't fussing though.
Then why would you take them off?
Because if she's threatening saying that she's gonna hit me,
That's
then
fussing. So
She
you
didn't
guys,
say
I
anything
didn't
back.
say anything back. I had screenshots
It was a
of her
threat.
saying it.
But my point is, you guys are having some type of exchange,
Wrong.
and you take off your shoes
We
and
weren't
socks.
fussing in the
You
cafeteria.
just said she threatened you.
On social media, it was a threat.
Ma'am, I'm talking to her, not you right now. I give
Okay.
you all the time when you speak, like
Yes,
I
sir.
said.
Yes,
But
sir.
Right now, it's you. Why do you take your shoes and socks off?
I took them off because I had a screenshot of a threat that was made that night that she was gonna smack me for someone else.
Okay. So she comes in the cafeteria.
She's in my room. She's in the
It's a
environment.
yes or no question.
Yes.
She comes in the cafeteria. You avoid a fight. You already said by going to a teacher. My point is, you know how to avoid a fight. When you think there's a threat, because you got one apparently on a screenshot, you take action by taking off your shoes and socks, which is ridiculous, and you avoid the fight. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why couldn't you do it on this occasion? Why could you not avoid it? When you're airboxing, going backwards the entire time, like throwing punches at the air. Like, why couldn't you avoid a fight on that one?
Well, first off, the people who were supposedly holding her back should have been holding her back because she was already at the bottom of the
Let's focus on you. How could you avoid the fight in the past, but not on this day? Why not on this incident? Why do you not avoid the fight?
I mean, I tried. I told the teacher, but if someone's running up on me, I was going to defend myself.
So the way I understand that you had a barrier and teachers are trying to get you in a classroom. Is that correct?
No, she doesn't talk.
Yes or no?
Yes.
So, if you want to avoid a fight, why not just go into the classroom like you were directed?
By that time, it was like you were already into it.
Again, wouldn't that be a way to avoid the fight like you did in the past? You've avoided the fight in the past. Lots of drama, lots of dates, 10 bulleted points about how things have been, different interventions and mediations and discussions with parents. Lots of stuff that the school did.
Don't worry.
Am I able to speak? Because it's very frustrating.
It is.
It really is. You really have no clue at all. It's frustrating for
No
me
clue.
and her. Am I able to speak?
Sure.
Okay, number one is a couple bullet points. Please excuse me, I'm not being smart, okay? Whatsoever. Ms. Duncan and them really do know me. I'm very
Yeah, but if you're
emotional.
telling me I don't have a clue, I mean, that's insulting.
I'm
just
trying.
gonna
Well,
be
you done. I'm
honest.
just trying to fill you in. That's what I'm saying. Because you guys are just hearing one side, okay?
I'm hearing the school side.
Yes, sir.
So there are three sides.
Yes, sir. I
There are
agree.
Autumn's side, there is the other girl's side.
In my side, in the
Court
court
side.
side. We just went to court for this stuff. Okay, so sir,
Court doesn't have a side.
court does have a side
Court
because
does
we
not
got our
have a side.
protection against them.
Court decides they don't have a side.
Okay, but they decided on our side. I'm gonna just put it that way, okay? But this situation, a lot of things in here has been, I guess, from the mom trying to protect herself. That's why I said I do apologize to the school because most definitely, like, I feel as though they took advantage over the school situation. Baltimore County was on it from when I first made the first phone call. Baltimore County sent me back to the school. That's how I ended up back at the school because they felt like it was going to be a situation with Taylor and my daughter because Taylor was coming to my house, sending people to the house to try to get Autumn to come outside. This stuff been going on for like a month and a half. There was no exchange with my daughter and Taylor. At a certain point, they started making screenshots saying that Autumn was fussing. These are old screenshots that was made. Me and the mom had a one-on-one conversation with the kids. I invited them to my home like a month before it even came to the school. So this stuff was going on a month before school, it got into school. So I had a conversation, everything was left alone, including the video. The video was an old video from the conversation I told you me and the mom had when I came up there that Friday. It was an argument. So everything was old that they were bringing forth, trying to cover Taylor and the mom. Now, the thing about it is, like I mentioned, is a couple things in here that's completely wrong. My daughter most definitely did try to avoid it. We tried to avoid it because they was telling my child from the beginning that she would be charged. That's something that we don't want. We also are very big people when it comes to education. That's why we fight so hard and we try to keep her out of trouble. I even work with them as far as trying to keep Autumn out of trouble, trying to, work with the community and everything like that. This mom has told her daughter to attack my daughter. She really just doesn't have any respect for the law. The officers came to my house to speak to my child and to try to resolve situations with them. Erased both of the kids' numbers, everything. Told us not to communicate because at this point they was trying to figure out who was the aggressor and who was doing what, because they were saying one thing and we were saying one thing. So we started getting phone numbers and text messages from the cousin phone. I had to call the police. All these CC numbers I have, this is the beginning. I had 4 other ones. I'm the one that pushed for the harassment charge along with the second degree assault. They told me the reason why Autumn was charged with the harassment charge was because together, meaning they see fit, they'll drop it off her, but because I was pushing for the harassment to be on Taylor as well. They came to my daughter's house the day before the physical fight actually happened. Like I mentioned, I'm not going to talk about the school bus. We know about the school bus situation. I let them know about the school bus situation because we was told by staff that young lady did not belong on my bus. That was my major concern. So I called up there. I never spoke to Mr. Eggins directly. Miss Molly took my phone call and she took my message and she gave it to Mr. Eggins. Then he called me back afterwards. So I informed them about the school bus because we were trying to avoid the situation. I'm me as mom, I'm doing all these precautions, coming to the school, calling the police, getting these CC numbers. I have a stack on these people, building a case on her and her mom at this particular moment. And like I said, the school just so happened got dragged into it, okay? So when I say it's way bigger than what you know, sir, it really is. You understand? Like, it's way bigger than what you know. But the day before the fight happened, the day that Taylor tried to attack Autumn in school, they did say that she was disciplined and she was sent home for a half a day. So the next, that day, my daughter, she went to her girlfriend's house, which she doesn't live that far from us. I dropped her off. Then I get a phone call from her girlfriend's Deja's mom saying some girls walked up there to fight her and Deja, which was Taylor and them. This is after school, after the first initial attack in school when she tried to attack Autumn and she was suspended. So I turned around to come back and pick my child up to take her home. When I get to my house, there's 3 young ladies. We live on like Silver Spring and Yvonne, off of Silver Spring and Yvonne. It's 3 young ladies on the corner. It's Taylor and her cousin like at the playground, which is like a medium from where they live and where we live. But you can see when my car is coming in to pull into my parking lot. And then they had their cousin circling.
Ma'am,
yes, sir.
Here's where you're right. This is way bigger.
Yes,
than
yes,
I
sir.
know. And here's my role. Here's my scope of authority. Right. My role is just school on this.
That's why we're trying to get back to school. I'm sorry.
Listen to me. On just this incident. So she's here for this fight and several staff members being hit, pushed, and struck. That's my only role on this. So all the other stuff, I get it. I understand that there's history. Perfectly
yes,
clear.
Sir.
I don't know the history. I don't pretend to know it. I don't need to know the history.
I mean, you just said that you felt like it was disrespectful. That's what I'm trying to understand. To you, it's not disrespectful when you don't know the whole story. That's what I'm saying.
I got you.
Right.
But
That's
here's
what I
the
was just trying to
thing.
explain.
But I don't need to know all the other criminal portions, the CC numbers you have written
Well,
down.
I mean, I have peace orders and everything. So, like I said, we had to take this to court. My daughter took the young lady to court and she won.
Let me finish.
But the way that you just made her feel was just like she wasn't trying to avoid it when in fact we most definitely were. And that's why I'm fighting this case now.
Let me say it again. On that day, on that time, at that time, she could have avoided it and she did not.
How many teachers intervened, sir?
I told Ms. Breaker.
Ma'am, at that day, at that time, she could have avoided it by simply going into the classroom. She was directed by staff to go into the classroom, and she chose not to. She chose to put her fists up, sort of dance or punch or airbox in the open space. She could have avoided. Now, my point was, she's avoided fighting before.
Right.
You guys have put in all kinds of things. I appreciate it on everybody's end. But my sole scope here is on that day. She could have avoided the fight, just like she has in the past. That day she did not, and then staff were struck.
how did the young lady get all the way up the hallway? That's my concern. I feel as though the school didn't stop it enough. I mean, I'm being honest. I don't think y'all knew how to handle it. I'm just being honest. That's why I said I most definitely apologize because I wouldn't know how to handle them either. I'm gonna be honest, like I don't. That's why I went to the courts for help and I went to the police.
So some teachers will intervene and some will not. The law states that they don't have to, but some do. Now, some it breaks down half and half. Some people get upset with the school system because they're like, hey, teachers shouldn't intervene. They know they're going to get struck if they're breaking up. The other half say, why didn't the teacher intervene? My kid just got their tail whipped. Why didn't anybody stick up for it? So the school system, from what I hear, never wins because parents are either ticked because a staff member got hit because they did try to prevent injury, or they're upset because they didn't try. But the law protects them on both. So she punched a teacher in the arm, and then she was pushing staff, and then she hit another teacher. All she had to do was go in that classroom when they were trying to direct her in there. And then this would happen. Now, am I saying she wasn't provoked or that this other girl was in the wrong spot? No, I'm not saying any of that. Am I saying that the other girl's not at fault? Absolutely not. But we're not here for the other girl. Can't really speak to the other girl. There's a whole lot of information in this report that really shouldn't be shared because you're not supposed to talk about the other person.
It really shouldn't be in here, period.
But ma'am, here's the thing. She was involved in a fight that could have easily been avoided, just like it was in the past. You could have, but you left, so now I'm going to talk right now. She didn't avoid it at that particular time, and that's why she's here, because she hit staff on that day at that time.
So why are other things mentioned into this report if we're not able to speak on it? This is the issue that we're
I think
here.
the school's making the point that they tried endlessly to avoid this.
Did they? Really?
I would say.
I don't feel that way.
Whew, man,
And then my daughter was, I'm not being small, sir, then she was most definitely hurt. Like, my daughter went to the hospital after that. So I feel as though that I mean, like I mentioned, I don't feel as though they tried their best to avoid the situation. I'm most definitely not being
I agree.
confrontational.
Here's where we agree. I agree that both your daughter and the other girl did not try their best to avoid the situation.
She tried.
I agree they did
Can I
not.
say something?
Sure.
First off, the first teacher I went to, I guess her name is Miss Breaker, I asked her to take me to the office. She shut her door behind her and asked if I needed a pass.
I ain't understand that part either. Even though she was trying to get some help from a teacher, you know, like that's the part I don't get. At that point, that wasn't even a physical contact. It wasn't even physically. They didn't make physical contact at that particular time.
Here's my question for you, because this is when you got upset and left. Why did you not go into the classroom when they were directing you into the classroom? This issue's right there. Why not go in the classroom? If you wanted to avoid the fight. If you wanted to avoid the fight, why do I see you on the video like dancing,
Why didn't the lady
doing
take
this?
it
Like you're literally
Just answer his
dancing.
question.
Like
Just
it was
answer.
like I'm watching this video like, who is this person? Like you're literally dancing in the video and then you start airboxing. That doesn't show anybody any kind of way that you're trying to avoid anything but fighting. That's egging someone on. That's provoking it as well.
Why didn't the lady take me to the office like I asked her to though?
Why didn't you just go to the office yourself? Why do you need an escort?
I told her myself.
Why are you blaming this on so many other people and accepting zero
I
responsibility?
didn't say that because like I said, yes I did intervene in the
Why
fight.
do you need
but
this teacher to take you to the office? If she
I was
did what
telling-
you say, if she closed her door on you, why not just go to the office?
They told her to tell the teacher.
Man, hold on a sec. Why not just go to the office? Instead, you chose to dance and put your hands up
Okay.
like you want to fight. And then you could have went in a classroom if you really wanted to avoid it. But you didn't. You were putting on a show. You were giving people something to
I
see.
don't care about people, to be honest with you. I feel as though that she should have been stopped from the beginning
I think
when she
so,
was
too.
down that point in the hallway.
I agree.
I agree.
She could have been stopped. She wasn't. Just like you weren't stopped. You could have stopped, and the school couldn't stop
She
you.
should have been upstairs.
Girl couldn't
It wouldn't
stop.
happen if she wasn't
School
upstairs.
couldn't stop her. School
But that's
couldn't
my
stop
thing.
you.
That's
At
why I
what
said
point in
she had
time
no
do we
respect
say,
for the
hey,
school.
I should stop? Why do we stop blaming the school and having a girl on the wrong floor, or you dancing and taking your shoes and socks off? When do we put the onus back on the student and say you shouldn't
I
have
don't know. I mean, but the school,
when you took your shoes and socks off?
but
First off, I didn't do any. When I took my shoes and socks off, I walked straight to my locker. I ain't say anything to anybody. I
Then
walked to my
why take your
locker.
shoes and socks
Hold
off?
on, but I have a question though, because you said the school couldn't control Taylor, so that just proved my point. Like, if y'all
School
can't
can't
control
control
somebody,
anybody, man. That's why we have a lot
why
going
y'all
on.
didn't suspend her though?
Why do you think we have school shootings? Why do you think we have people struck? Why do you think I have a
Is the
job?
superintendent really saying this to me, sir? You really saying
Because we
You
can't
seen
stop.
Do your kid go to a public school, Baltimore
Ma'am,
County at all?
we can't stop everyone from doing everything. If we could, we would all, like, there would be no SRO.
So shouldn't those type of kids where you can't control them be put out?
But we
or
can't predict it,
discipline?
ma'am.
She was only suspended
ma'am,
for a
listen
day and
to
a
yourself.
half.
Listen to me, ma'am. We can't predict
All of
who's
us
going to
suspended
do
for
what.
3. And there was no physical contact, remember?
If we could
For
predict.
yes ma'am, for the dude that was like coming.
A day. She was suspended for a day.
That was
No,
3 days,
suspended
Ms.
for a
Duncan.
day.
Yes ma'am, it was 3 days.
Ma'am, if we could predict what would happen, we would go ahead and do that, but we can't predict it. We can't predict
If a
what's gonna
mom
happen.
has concern for their child, and I'm predicting it, because I predicted it. And
Did
then
you-
it was told to
did
the
you
teachers
predict-
that the
hold
young
on.
lady said,
Did
I'm
you-
sorry, go ahead.
Let me ask you
Yes,
this,
sir.
did you predict on April 18th, let's see here. Did you predict on April 18th, Autumn and a friend arrived at lunchtime when they asked why they were, Autumn responded she didn't trust that she wasn't going to engage in the student.
Yeah, because she was being,
Hold
yes,
a sec.
yes, sir.
You were
She
generally
was being
surprised.
pushed.
Hold on, here's the thing. You were generally surprised when she read that comment. You even addressed your daughter and said, "Did you really say that?"
No, because I said that she
Come
was
on,
provoked.
come on.
Look, I'm
You
not
gotta
playing.
give me that.
I'm not playing at all.
You
'Cause
gotta
I'm being
give me
dead
that.
serious. Listen to me. I'm a very peaceful person.
Did that not just
but the
happen?
way her mom and her daughter
Ma'am,
provoke people.
Did that just not happen at my
Then
office?
what just happened?
Where you said to her, "Did you really say
Because
that?"
I thought that they was lying on her, just like
Mom,
they put this category 3 on
And
her.
here's my point.
That's why I asked her that when
Listen
she
to
said
me.
I left her alone. It wasn't because I
You
was shocked she said it.
can't predict what your daughter will
I
do.
can predict what happened that I was trying to avoid,
If you
and it
can predict
happened.
it, then we wouldn't be here.
Well, I was here before you got here, sir. Before you got involved, I was here with these ladies trying to resolve the situation.
And we still
And I
couldn't.
even, well, I just met Officer Nichols a couple weeks ago.
But they still couldn't be
Why
prevented.
couldn't we?
Because she didn't go in the
That's why
classroom.
Baltimore County
For
told
these
me
classroom
outright.
situations,
Because
y'all
they
told me to stop
predicted
communicating
what
with
was
her,
going to
and I
happen
did.
as well.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen.
Yes,
So-
ma'am.
But
It was a 1-day suspension.
She was home for 3.
It's a 1-day suspension. There's no way, if she was home for 3, it wasn't by the school's hand. This is the same day that she followed the kid down the hallway. And Autumn, your defense is, this is what you were doing at the end of the hallway, the air boxing. This is the same thing. This,
I can see.
okay, my apologies for putting it in your face. This is not saying, I don't want to engage in a physical altercation.
The bully stuff is like y'all can't handle it. No,
Like
I mean, it's
said, She shouldn't have
okay.
been that way up the hallway.
shouldn't
It would have been
have.
avoided
You're
if
not
she
wrong,
wasn't there.
Autumn.
I
You're
believe
not
that
wrong.
part.
But
Because
that-
would it have happened if she was up there? I don't think so.
Listen, you're not wrong. 3 teachers back in that corner in Miss Lindsay's room were trying to push you in that room, trying to corral you in that room. I believe that you had enough. And I believe that
Yes,
and I believe that nothing that the school could have done, absolutely nothing would have avoided this altercation at all. And I believe that it's still going on. That's why your mom is still pursuing things with the law. My job is to keep that building safe, including you. There was a fight that occurred that day. There were many teachers who tried to intervene. You were hot. You were so hot that I don't even think that you knew that you spewed off at least 15 cuss words. I don't give a F, I don't care, you were going off like I've never seen you before, kicking a stool. Because your adrenaline, your anger was so high. So there's absolutely nothing, no matter what we did, even if we would have, I'm not even sure if community conferencing would have even helped at that point.
We had our own, we was past that, Ms. Duncan.
But I'm
That's
just
why we
saying-
kept telling y'all that, we couldn't do that. You can't do that with them type of people, like, they brought a man to my house to threaten us and everything. They're not the type of people you have community conferencing with. That's why I was trying to get the police involved when I did, and just like the police told me, because at that point, they felt like it was going to be an issue, but they was like, nothing was physically done to keep everything. That's why I have a whole file on these people. So from day one, from a month and a half ago. So, I mean, am I able to, just out of respect for, considering I have a case with the mom, I'm taking the mom back to court on Friday, I think we go back Friday. We just went to court yesterday, and then we go back on Friday. Am I able to, get a copy of the tape at all?
Get a copy of what tape?
The tape where you said that she struck the, teacher
So,
and
no,
everything.
you-
Cause I'm putting the blame on the mom, honestly.
Let me answer.
Yes, sir.
You can view it, but the only way to get a copy is the school would have to ask everyone in the video
To
if
be
they-
present.
No, if they mind having a copy.
Okay.
So It rarely ever happens where everyone agrees because there's so many people in a video. So you can view it, but bringing it isn't going to be the case.
Okay, but I'll be able to view it then, because I didn't
You-
get a
you can
chance
view
to
it.
see. Okay, no problem.
Just
Sure.
one thing, if you think back the first day that you came into school and we were all together in Ms. Duncan's office,
Mm-hmm.
I gave Autumn a directive, and I said, if you see her in the hallway, if you see Taylor in the hallway, what did I tell you to do?
Go tell a teacher.
Go into a classroom and tell the teacher.
She did
That
that.
way the teacher can close the door,
The
and
teacher
Taylor,
closed the door
then I
behind her.
can show that Taylor came into that classroom after you. Go into the
When I
classroom was
went
my
to the teacher,
directive.
she closed the door behind her though.
I-
She
I-
came out the
I
classroom
just wanted to
herself.
state that at one point in time, in the stuff to try to keep this from happening, I told you to go to the teacher, but to go into the classroom and tell the teacher. You did half of my direction, you went to the teacher.
Here's my question for you. Do you accept any responsibility in this situation?
Yes.
What? What do you accept
I mean, I
responsibility
shouldn't
for?
have engaged in the fight, but I feel though it could have been avoided if she wouldn't have been upstairs in the first place.
Okay, so you do agree that you shouldn't have been fighting?
Yes.
Okay. And do you agree it could have been avoided on your behalf?
Yes.
Okay. So you do agree that you are at fault?
Well, no, how could she?
Man, it's not your question. I asked her. She just says she agrees on both counts. It could have been
I
avoided,
feel like
and
that's,
she shouldn't have engaged.
I feel like you doing it for a different type of reason. How could she avoid it if she was still attacked?
You don't know what my reason is, but my reason is to learn from it so that it doesn't happen again. The easy part of my job is innocence and guilt. It's clear as day, the guilty part. It's, do we move on from it? Do you learn a lesson from it? The mitigating factors. Can I trust her in a school ever again? Can she avoid it? And here's the problem. If you can't recognize the problem, then you're not going to be able to avoid it. So that's why I asked the questions, which is nice that she responded the way she did. I understand that you want to defend her and you want to...
No, I'm actually
wanna
hurt as a
advocate.
parent. Hold on. I'm actually hurt as a parent because out of all parents, I work with them. For 3 years, my child been a student with y'all. My daughter did not come from IT Tech, whatever that school came from. She came from a charter school in Baltimore City. I have a major issue with Baltimore City schools, and I thought I was bringing her out here to an area with better kids. It's bad enough we have issues when we're trying to avoid it with our own people, but then the fact that it's like, oh, we can't protect the kid in school, like, what did I bring her out here for? And then I most definitely, I'm sorry,
It's a
sir,
harsh reality.
but I most definitely feel
we
at this
can't
particular
at
time,
all times.
and well, at this moment, as much as I boasted about Perry Harassed Middle, Ms Duncan, Ms Shanks, and you know, I really don't have an issue with Ms Perry, but these two right here, Ms Duncan and Ms Shanks, as much as I boasted about the assistant principals there, have worked with me and my daughter, I really felt like they dropped the ball. That's what hurts me, because it's like, me out of all parents, I come and I work with y'all to try to stop conflict with Kalia, other little girls. Like, I don't like to see kids being thrown out. I'm always the one that's trying to talk and mediate. My daughter is not an aggressor. My daughter more or less has to defend herself, and that's not your fault. But it's just like, at what point in time is the community really going to help with the parents that's concerned and try to stop all of this instead of placing blame like, oh, well, you could have did this and did you do this? Like, if we tried to avoid it, then what? That's just like you sitting here, no threats, no disrespect, okay? I'm just making an example, okay? I'm not threatening this man. But that's just like you sitting here and I'm telling you I'm going to whip your tail.
Mm-hmm.
But you avoiding me. You understand? And I get up and I put my hands on you, but you defend yourself. Then what is that? Was he in the wrong for defending himself at all? I don't believe that you are.
So here's the thing. There is no self-defense law in Maryland.
No,
you
it's
and I
not.
engage into a fight, and you want to do something, and I clock you right here and there, I'm going to get charged because
Right.
we are mutual partners. Now, what we're going to do is I'm probably going to step out and we're going to say, ma'am, I don't really want to handle this. We should probably step out. And then I'm really going to try to guide you out of my office. I'm going to use strategies to avoid a fight. Now, I understand that we're adults and we have more strategies. Kids don't, and that's the problem. She needs coping strategies and mechanisms in place so that she can avoid them in another occasion, so that we can know that we can avoid the fight. So here's the thing, man. We try our best as a school system, and the officers, they try their best to avoid all altercations, but we can't prevent them all.
That's what I don't think you
It's
guys should say.
impossible.
But
It's
that's what I think y'all
impossible.
should say, because it doesn't, you know, like just speaking in general with everything that's going on the news and stuff, I don't think you guys should say that or promote that. You guys can't, you know, stop those type of things, you know, because it's like, if I send my kid with you and I'm at work for 10 hours out the day and she's with y'all for 6, I'm hoping she's okay, and then I'm concerned about my child passing
Man,
out and dying.
listen to
like,
me.
you know,
Your
off a
daughter's
physical
not
fight.
walking around school in an inflatable bubble so that nothing's going to happen to her. I'm giving you the realistic truth. The school system tries their best to ensure everyone's safety, What I'm saying though is we can't control your daughter. We can't control the other girl.
I can
And-
control her. I have her.
But she wasn't under control
It was
on
subsequent
that
point.
day.
I agree.
At that time, is my point. We can't control your daughter. You can't control your daughter if you're not there. She has her own free will, and she chose to engage. And then there's consequences for it. Now the consequences are going to be she's removed for these last 6 weeks of school. She'll receive her education on e-learning. E-learning works like FaceTime or Skype. It's live stream video. They see you, you see them, they hear you, you hear them. There's a schedule. 9 o'clock can be math, 10:30 can be science. You're going to log in each time for each class. That's how they take attendance. You're going to submit your work online. As long as there's you pass your classes, you stay out of trouble, you get to go back on September 3rd.
Go back where?
Back to Perry Hall. You're only in 7th grade, right?
She's an 8th
Eighth
grader.
grade? Okay, so then you go to Perry Hall High.
Why would she go there? We're leaving. Okay, I mean, but I don't think it's fair that she's being sent home on e-learning. And how does that work? So does she have to be like, I mean, how does e-learning work? Can y'all explain it?
I just explained. It's
No, I mean like a computer, a phone, like how do you know we have access to that stuff?
They will lend you on, if, actually, she can actually use her school device, because they're out of devices, so she can use her school device, for the e-learning program.
Which is at the school, so it'll be reissued to Autumn.
Okay, and you can do it from home?
Do you have your charger
You
at
can do it
home?
from anywhere there's internet.
Okay,
Library, anywhere
okay,
you
I'll
want.
set it up fine.
The way it works is they contact you within 5 days, school days, and you do an orientation. There's a 1-hour orientation. They show you how to use the computer, give you your schedule, they show you how to use the program, give you a little more information about it, and then you start the next day. Do you have any other questions about it?
Can I have your card? And I would like to schedule something to see that, video.
That's through the school.
Okay.
So this is, the blue sheet's your appeal mitigation rights. Doesn't mean you agree with this.
Mr. Bates is your boss, sir, as
No,
well?
He is not.
Okay, I think I got the superintendent, what's his name? And Towson, I don't know if y'all familiar with each other or not.
I know Mr. Bates.
No, not him, it's another guy that gave me his information. Thank you.
I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
need you to sign one of the blue sheets stating you received it. You can keep the other one. Are you refusing to sign it?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Can I have the one back so I can state that you're refusing to sign it?
I don't care what you state,
Thank
because
you.
y'all state a lot of lies here.
Okay.
Is this yours too?
Sure. That's it.
For the computer, I'm gonna
Yes.
set it up at front, I'm gonna put it in the school safe, so I'll let the ladies know in the office that you'll come by to pick it up.
Okay. And as far as, doesn't this stuff follow my chair on her record? Like, can y'all remove the lies that's in here, please? Or do I have to, like, I don't know what I gotta do, I gotta get a lawyer in order for y'all to remove certain things from out here that's a lie? Cause this follows my chair, like I said, I'm a big person on education, so I'm like very upset right now. I don't need certain lies to follow her whatsoever.
As far as writing a rebuttal to the statement that was submitted,
So I don't know what you mean by follow her. That's not that's not gonna go in her cumulative file.
But it's written on her name, and then y'all got things from my case that I have going on now, which is like switched around, which kind of makes things look bad. So can y'all
What are you
completely
talking
take that
about,
out?
switched around?
Oh, like as far as the mom calling and all this other crap, like can y'all take that stuff out because that has nothing to do with school whatsoever?
You can ask the school to do it. I mean,
I really don't
I guess-
understand why I was placed in there anyway.
well, because it's all pertinent to this case.
That's why I was explaining my
Miss-
side,
Miss
and you
Hart-
told me it didn't have anything to do with it.
what I
So,
would recommend,
Contradictional.
why don't you go ahead and outline something that I will attach to this?
Yes.
So the children have two different files. The one file is a discipline file, the other file is the cumulative file, students' test scores, report cards, MAP scores. That particular file goes on to the high school, the discipline file does not go on.
Okay.
Her discipline file stays in the schoolhouse.
Yeah, I need that stuff to come off though.
Okay.
Like
then-
Perry,
So it's
yes,
not
I-
gonna.
I don't know what you're
It's not
refuting.
gonna come off, but you could write a letter, then she can attach it to it, so you can refute what you
Okay,
would like
so-
her
What
to
am
do.
I supposed to do about testing? I don't really.
Oh yeah, she missed her testing. How
For
was
park
it?
testing, I'll ask Ms. Shanks. I mean, for MCAP, sorry.
I got my lawyer contact y'all, cause y'all said y'all can't take this off then. I guess I'll have a lawyer get this off.
Okay.
But I don't know what you're refuting, so if you wanna
That, well,
outline.
just the statement that the mom made to this, like, I don't understand why that was even in here, we're
Okay.
coming for, like you stated, it was a physical fight with, the student and the staff member, like, I don't know why that was placed in here. And then for me to be told that what I was explaining, had nothing to do with it.
What I
I
can
don't
do,
think y'all know what y'all be talking about sometimes, that's weird. Y'all just wanna sound smart.
Okay, well, you have a good day.
You too.
Take care.